wildfire that's been burning for more than 2 months on California's coastline, known as Big Sur, has just become the single costliest fire the U.S. Forest Service has ever battled. Over $200 million tax dollars have been spent fighting it so far, and it's only 2/3 contained. Full Measure contributor Lisa Fletcher reports on the natural disaster that's burning a hole in the federal budget.
The picture postcard views around Big Sur vanished this summer. Record wildfires closed the highways and hotels, keeping tourists away from one of the Central Coast's crown jewels. Everyone but the firefighters.
This actually crossed the creek the night before last.
Bob Baird is the supervisor of the Los Padres National Forest. His job is to put the fires out.
The terrain is incredibly complex. It's rugged California with some of the steepest terrain in the lower 48.
Summer wildfires in the West have been burning bigger, hotter, and faster over the last several years, consuming not only the landscape, but the budget of the agency charged with fighting the fires.
We need Congress to act, and we need them to act now.
Robert Bonney is the head of the U.S. Forest Service. He spent the last 4 years trying to get Congress to treat fires more like natural disasters. That would shift the cost off the Forest Service ledgers and over to funds used for emergencies like hurricanes, tornadoes, and floods.
If you look back about 20 years, the Forest Service spent about 1/6 of its budget on fire and firefighting. Last year, in a bad year, we spent north of 60% on fire-related expenses.
What is that in dollars and cents?
It was close to $3 billion last year, out of an agency budget that's about $5 billion. So you can see that the agency is being more and more less a Forest Service and more a fire service.
The Los Padres National Forest is ground zero for one of the summer's worst fires, now surpassing 120,000 acres.
This is a drip torch. We intentionally put fire on the ground so that way we can create a buffer from the main fire and something that we're trying to protect.
Thousands of firefighters are using fire to fight fire. Not to mention the helicopters, bulldozers, and fleets of water trucks at a cost of $210 million and counting. With extreme fires consuming so much of the Forest Service's budget, programs designed to prevent fires are in jeopardy. In fact, in 2015, the Forest Service had to take $700 million from prevention programs and put it into firefighting. These flammable landscapes become far more volatile when the money isn't there to manage pests like the tree-killing bark beetle.
They will burrow around the tree in the layer that actually carries the water up to the top of the tree.
Fire Captain Mike Lindberry works on some of the biggest fires across the country.
They're estimating over 60 million trees are dead standing right now, all over the state.
And what is the translation for a firefighter?
The translation for a firefighter is one, faster moving, more deadly fires, and the fact that even while they're fighting these fires, there's the danger of the trees dropping on them at any point.
And you already had one firefighter killed with the tree dropping on them.
There was a firefighter killed last week from a tree dropping on them. That's correct.
Forest fires produce a double jeopardy. After crews extinguish the flames, the barren landscape creates a threat from mudslides and poisoning local water.
We don't have the resources we need to invest in reforestation. And we have a substantial backlog. I think it may be as much as 5 million acres of areas where we'd like to plant trees post-fire and we essentially can't.
Like here, high above Big Sur, where Mark Gerwe's been on the front line for months.
Is this a disaster?
Absolutely, it's a disaster. And for Congress in Washington not to recognize that and start giving us what we need to do our job, I think they need to take a hard look at that and understand that this is what's going on.
For years, the House and Senate have been at an impasse over how to pay for putting out the biggest wildfires.
People out there are tired of hearing about so many committees and so many people involved, and they can't all come to an agreement.
No, that's exactly right. And this is an issue where there is broad agreement. We need to fix it. It's absolutely clear. And so I think this is becoming more and more an issue that many Americans see every day. And I think the anger is for not getting on top of this faster, for Congress not acting, is growing.
And so are the fires. More than 14 million acres have burned, in the last 2 years. Lisa Fletcher, Big Sur, California.
Still ahead, a few of your questions that we posed to Donald Trump. Will you keep tweeting yourself if you become president?